Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Topline. I'm Marti Bledsoe Post. I'm a busy working parent just like you with a long to-do list and a short attention span, which is why I created this show where we spend 15 minutes each week with a working parent who's on the front lines, figuring out how do you do life, how do you do school, how do you do parenting all at once in the middle of a pandemic. And my guest this week is Jen Pera. Jen, I'm thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about you, your name, your role, your family situation right now. How are you blending all that?
You know, as best as probably anyone else, but my name is Jen Pera. I'm a working mom. I have a full-time job. I'm a vice president of paid media for a healthcare marketing and advertising agency. And my phone is going off already.
Typical.
Well, I have two boys that are 14 and 9. Their school was supposed to start August 18th. It's been postponed until September 8th, but it's all online. I'm already, completely anxious about that, but how to, be on Zoom calls all day and monitor my 9-year-old, and how to help him with the technology. So we've been trying to come up with, ways we can possibly just try to make that work. My fiance works out of the home. He's a home builder, so he's gone from 6 to 4. So while he's supportive, he's literally not home. So
right.
We don't have that scenario where, we can kind of just tag team during the day like a lot of my colleagues do. So it feels very much back to like my single mom days of how am I going to do all of this at once? And still, at the end of the day, the most important thing is the kids and how do I honor them the most and yet still provide a roof over our heads and feel like I'm not just band-aiding and scotch taping life as I go. Because
right.
It's been pretty much like that since March. You thought I'm just getting used to it. I don't know. It's one or the other, I don't know.
And you guys are outside Austin, right?
We are. Yeah. We're in Austin, Texas. And it's interesting, I work remote. About when my oldest was 2, I was working full time. And I just decided then, like, I was getting really resentful of my husband at the time who was contract work. And I just said, I need more. I need to be able to be a mom. So I started my own ad agency and worked for myself for 10 or 11 years. So I could kind of do that, of course, and work and juggle that parenthood. Then I had my other son as well. About a year ago, I joined the agency I'm at now. However, I'm remote all the time. They're based in Nashville. So
okay.
The remote working thing hasn't been as new. It's the demand on my time because they're here and, running in and out of the room all the time and, how to help them with their schooling, how to keep them busy, Well, I don't know what to, what do I do with them all day?
Right. Other than turn on the TV again, right? Or a video game or something.
I know. And and I've come to terms in the beginning of this, like in March, I was like, typical mom. I'm pretty lenient anyway, but how much screen time? How do they do this? And now I've just given up. I've tried to just give myself a little grace. And like, if I was a friend talking to me with those things I'm concerned about, I would say, no one knows how to do this. This is nothing, you don't know any worse or better than anyone else. Have a little grace. And, and I realized my oldest, this is like for a boy, a middle school boy, this is like what they've been training for. This is like, this is totally how they react and how they relate to one another. Anyway, they sit online and play games and talk and give each other shit and like play.
Right.
My youngest, it's been harder because he still has play dates and, person-to-person things. So the fact that, they've been really resilient. He's got a Facebook Messenger and they get on there and they talk and then they play games and talk while they're playing games. And they're really done well at finding ways to still connect with their friends that really I had nothing to do with. So it gives me a little faith that, they're more resourceful and more resilient than I think I gave them credit for going in.
Yeah.
Don't love the hours and hours on the screen,
Yeah.
But the neighbor kid is here now and they're playing.
That's good. Well, you make a good point though. These are digital natives, these kids. This is not a change for them in some ways.
Completely. My oldest now is, I turn to him for questions, I do online marketing for a job and I'm still like, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
How to make this work? How to do this? I'm already in that.
So I'm curious about you and the conditions you feel like you need in your life to be your most creative. And I'm asking all parents this because I'm really curious, like, what's that look and feel like when you're like, oh yeah, I can get in the flow right now. This is good stuff coming my way. And
oh, you froze.
Oh, did you hear any?
I heard the part.
So
Sorry.
it's okay. We're talking about the conditions you need in your life to be your most creative, and if you have those conditions right now, ever.
Yeah, certainly not. I think I've become a little numb to a lot of it. Like the kids in the background, the pets. I have 4 cats. I don't know why. And I'm surprised there's not one on my lap. I mean, they're all over all the time, and the kids are in and out. And Bodhi running in, can you buy me this cat on Roblox? And can I need a cat for a dog, whatever it is I have to buy. And I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And I'm doing it to get him out of the way.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say there's a lot of time to be creative. It's really, I wish. I would say that's definitely lacking. I think it's definitely more a case of doing the best I can. I feel like I'm half-assed at work sometimes. I feel like I'm half-assed as a mom sometimes, and trying to make sure that they're both keeping up. And then my relationship with my partner as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that fit into all of this scenario and all of that? It's tough as moms because as supportive as your partner is, the reality is the kids turn to you, they turn to you, you're still the one who keeps everything together. And at the same time, you're just like,
Yeah.
I just want a deep breath.
Who's going to keep me together?
Exactly. And if I ask that, you're like, and then everyone feels bad. And I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. So the half-assed feeling is something I've heard over and over and over again in my work through Apparently. What would it take? This is kind of cheeky, but what would it take for you to feel like you could put your full ass into your work or your parenting?
There's quarantines and grooming this for that.
I know, right?
Baking going on around here. I think peace and quiet. I think the kids back to school, back to that, when they were in school and I had the 8 to 3 period of quiet, I'd pretty much book as much as I could then. And by 3, I'd start to pare down and do stuff I had to do. But if it didn't happen till the next day, it'd be okay. So I'm missing that quiet. My kids actually went to sleepaway camp this summer for 2 weeks. They had a camp. They had no cases.
Wow.
Summer. So their kids went away for 2 weeks and got to be kids. And it was glorious on so many levels. But immediately I was like, oh my God, like my whole system. I slept so much. In between meetings, if I had 20 minutes, I'd get clunk. Like I realized I was so exhausted from just the level of like up. You have to be up and on the whole time. That when they were gone, and I'm worried about feeding them, and I'm worried about, are they okay? And what are they doing? And they're coming in, and I've got meetings and work and people calling. And I was like, oh my God, that's right. This is what they used to be. It was beautiful.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah. We've been, I'm very respectful of COVID in the sense of I clearly, no one wants to get sick. I certainly don't want to have anyone get sick because of our family. At the same time, I take the mental health of my kids very seriously as well. And I think this is not obviously anyone's great situation. And the camp was really good about testing and doing this and doing that. And the kids had a blast. They got to be
good. And what's one tip you would give working parents right now?
I think just, realize that everybody's in the same boat. No one feels like they're doing this right. Everyone feels like they're not enough. I'm seeing these parents with their back to school kids, and they've got like situations where the kids are set up with like offices and desks and writing. And I'm just like, what? You're gonna be at the dining room table, right? Good. Like I have like I have to stop comparing myself of like what I can give and what I can't, and what I can do and what I can't, and just accept that like everyone's doing the best they can. Everyone else has different opinions on all of this, and there's all of that and the politicization of all of it. And just to say, like, at the end of the day, everybody feels they're doing what's best for their family, and just cut each other some slack and try to be kind to yourself. And we've started a new thing where at night now we curl up in bed and watch like Cheers or The Twilight Zone.
Oh, good.
So it's like a half hour or an hour of just all of us just kind of sitting together and curling up on the couch or in bed and just, zoning out. And Cheers is much better the second time around, by the way.
Is it? Great to know.
It's hilarious. And Twilight Zone's perfect. It's still creepy enough for us, but like the kids get it. It's hard to find things you can do together. So I'm trying to kind of still at the end of the day pull together what's important, even though during the day they'll literally make me lunch and bring it up to me. It's come to that. I get lunch. I have no idea what the nutritional value of it. It's really, and just kind of say, you know what, this isn't forever.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if there was a new tradition that had formed. I really like your sort of closing the day with a show. Is there anything else that you've started doing?
I think really that's probably the one that I've been most like, hey, let's do this now. I know it's sweet because now my youngest after our showers, after showers, he'll be like, let's go curl up and watch Cheers.
Oh,
Like he enjoys it. So even on nights when I'm like, I just want to go to bed or I'm just done. I don't want anybody touching me and talking to me or,
right.
And then I'm like, oh no, I love this.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they're still little enough and still want to, at 14, he'll still, he's taller than me now, but he'll still come and curl up and watch TV.
Oh, well, that's good. Keep that as long as you can.
Possible. I'm already doing it. I know.
So if you were designing a t-shirt right now for, we'll do working moms, what would it say on the shirt?
I have a mask. I should bring it. I think it's in the car. I have a mask that's pretty much, it's pink. And it has, like in the thought bubble, all the swear words, how they put them together in like symbols and signs. It's that. And it's pink and it's like, but it's just swear words and like thought bubbles. There's no letters or anything.
I love that. I love that.
I have some people who look at it and think it's like a comic book, like Batman, like Bam or Pow kind of thing.
Yeah.
And other people get it. They're like, oh no, that's exactly how I feel.
We're all thinking behind these masks, by the way. So yeah. Oh, that's great.
We're wearing.
What have you done just for you lately?
Well, I have a horse, and Chloe is hands down, my sanity, my time with her. I hate to say it like this, but putting my phone in my tack trunk and leaving it there for an hour and a half or so is so lovely, and just connecting with someone else who doesn't want anything from me or need anything from me other than carrots, like the connection and just being outside and in nature and exercise, kind of all of it in one. And that partnership feeling really kind of restores me. I come home feeling so much better. I miss yoga classes. I miss in-person fitness classes. I'm not good with this online thing. I don't have the discipline. I put it on and like 10 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, anyway.
Right, let me go do something else.
I start to get a cookie,
Right.
And I know that I need that in person, that person standing in the front of the room telling me what to do to do well. So I really miss that aspect. So I've been trying to walk, but again, I get, that's too hot. I'm so wrong. But I will go out and ride my horse because I love it. So I go out and ride as much as I can. And thankfully, Ted's really supportive of that time away. Like he gets home from work, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
What about dinner? I don't know.
Yeah. Again, see what I said earlier about I didn't do lunch either. Yeah. As an executive, I mean, how do you see this changing work for your team, for your company, for all of us?
It's interesting. We've had a lot of conversations at work about it. And, I feel bad for like my company, I have to say, really wants to do what's best. They keep turning to like, and saying like, what can we do? And we're all looking online at like what the stuff, and I've been seeing stuff you've been posting and sharing it with my HR department. And really, realistically, they, they're in a bind too. Like, they're like, you can work flexible hours. And I'm like, yeah, the reality is though, I can work 9 to 5 and have meetings and stuff. And at 5, I've got 4 people staring at me with eyes. Like, is it my turn? I don't want to have dinner. I don't want to have meetings till 8.
Right.
And at 9 o'clock, I'm exhausted. I don't want to get back to work. So while I appreciate the gesture of it, the reality of how that would work just isn't sustainable. It's fine for a couple of days. You're a busy night. You work at night, makeup, but it's not a sustainable model. It's just not right.
Yeah.
I talked to my office now about potentially going down to like 80% and having 2 hours in the morning to do schoolwork with the kids and actually do it. And it takes a pay cut, and it takes, them saying okay, which they're fine with, thank God. But we're looking at those kind of options because I'm glad my company is willing. They're in kind of a bad spot too. Like, what can they do? What can they offer? That's fair to everybody else who also doesn't have kids. It can't be that you're the exception and you get more time or you get, So I'm just grateful that I even have the option of saying, hey, if this is too much, I'm bringing a tutor in, but in the beginning, our schools are synchronous and asynchronous. And she has it too. So how can she be, she can't be doing both these classes and her own. So we're trying to figure that out. So I'm trying and all those, and I know how privileged I am to be the option of having a tutor come to the house, who's willing to come in from COVID, and I can afford to pay her. We've been lucky enough, and I really have issues not with myself of like being grateful for the position I'm in. Like I try not to complain, even though I do, but like we haven't been affected. Our jobs are both very stable. I do healthcare marketing. As you can imagine, we're exponentially busier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now you're busier.
But I'm also very stable, and he's home builder, and our real estate market is booming because of their mortgage rates. So we've both been gratefully not affected like a lot of our friends have. Yeah. So I really also try to remind myself, like, I'm busy and I'm this and I'm that, but we're a lot better off than a lot of other folks right now. And to kind of remember that too. The fact I have a job I can ask for help that I don't have to go to personally.
Right.
Is a huge thing. So I'm trying to also be very mindful of the position I'm lucky enough to be in, and not, we got lucky. We got lucky that, it has nothing to do with us. It's just we got lucky. We happen to do things that can keep maintain and keep going. So there's that too. It's very complicated these days.
Oh, it is. I mean, every positive emotion has a guilty bottom of like, should I be happy about this, or or a framing thing of like, well, I better be grateful. I better be, and so it's hard.
It's almost like survivor's guilt. I feel like, God,
yes,
I feel bad because I haven't been destitute, and I haven't been sick, neither of my family members have been sick, so I do recognize, like, we're really, thank God. I mean, you don't wish that for anybody.
Right.
That, we've been, so I try to maintain my pity party, actually. I try to keep it small because I understand it could be worse.
Well, it is working parenthood was a big topic before all this happened. And now the topic has become so much more nuanced. And I totally.
It's impossible. Oh, you froze.
Little interview, how this all feels. I have one more question, which is there anything I didn't ask you that you think I should ask future guests?
I think more just like, I would say, I think I try to think of like, what would I want people to ask me? And I just like, how are you holding up? Like, how are you actually mentally holding up? Because it's really, the answer is like by a thread. Like I cried yesterday, like there's some days I'm like, I've got this. They're okay. And other days I'm just a puddle, know, that's probably what most people are going through. And I think just acknowledging that, like, whether, no matter any position you're in right now, it doesn't matter where you're at in life, it's really hard. And this is affecting people in every way, and in ways like everybody's affected in very different ways. And so it's really affecting us mentally, I think too. Like, it's really hard to keep the boat afloat and keep kids happy and healthy and not with their friends and and work and, your relationships, so there's a lot to juggle right now, and fear of being sick and hearing bad stories. And then you have the outside world of civil unrest and politics and like the rest of the world outside our doors. But it's just, it's a very, difficult kind of unsettling feeling most of the time, but I have faith that, like, the stuff you're doing and like talking like this with people, like to realize like you're not alone, we're all feeling like this, and, in different ways or in different, everybody affects differently, but we're all feeling like, what do we do? Like, how do we do this?
Right.
Makes me feel a little better that I'm not alone in it,
And I really appreciate you sharing it that way, because I think that is one of the goals of this, is just for all of us to keep hearing that message over and over and over from other parents who are, figuring certain things out and saying, hey, this worked for us, and finding other things that we could let go of. And then at the end of it all, just sort of sharing like, it's hard. And that is something that, has come through in every workshop I've ever done from the beginning of this work, but even more so now, because I think people feel more now like they can say it.
Exactly. It's true though, because before it was like, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be able to keep it all together. You're right. That was the first time we were able to say, oh my God, I'm drowning over here. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh yeah, me too. And it's like, well, weren't you 6 months ago?
Yeah. Right.
I was fucking teetering then.
Right. But back then I was still trying to make it all look like I had it figured out. So
filter on it and make it look
right.
Kind of half done over there. January life was great. It just meant it was a little easier.
Right, right. A few fewer logistics were going on then.
At least the kids went to school.
I know, I know. Well, I'm super appreciative of your time and want to be careful of that, and also for all of our viewers. So thank you so much, Jen. This has been awesome. And we'll have the highlights of this up next week to share with all of our Apparently audiences.
Great. Thank you for having me, Marty. It's good to see you.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.